with a dream match suggested and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. On Smack Talk, Dutch Mantel gave a suggestion to WWE for their upcoming draft as he said, "This is my idea. Why not? For one pick, at least let the people make the choice. You know, like picking the winner that the people can vote for, like talent shows. And I'd have the people vote and have them do it. At least one pick. And now for creative, you'll have to say, well, now you'll have to work with it. I think it will work. You can get a lot of coverage on it and you can actually see how many people actually vote. And those are your rabid fans. Telling them they could make a difference, they could make a choice. I think you'd get a good response out of that. I really do, because I would vote." Dutch Mantel also said this about LA Knight, noting on his podcast that, "I think he's a very valuable performer to them and they want to take their time with him. I'd rather they take their time instead of trying to rush him. I think that helps in the long run and that helps WWE. He kind of puts off a little bit of Stone Cold vibes to me. He goes, hey, let me talk at you, and people like that. I think he can go out there and, as the old saying goes, he can talk them into the building. You give him something hot and I think he's going to take off and run." Explaining why Dominik Mysterio is better at being a heel than MJF, Conan revealed this during an interview with Wrestling Inc. The thing is, Dominik might be a better heel for this one reason. People like MJF. People don't like Dom. So he is a heel because, you know, MJF went out in Long Island and he was trying to get over, and I don't think Dom would ever do that if he went to San Diego. Yes, I think he should just be a straight up heel and just get heat. But he's so good and he's so likable. He's like Ric Flair. It was hard to really hate Ric Flair because he was so awesome. So he's kind of in that, and of course, he's catered. Some of it is his own fault for catering to the fans sometimes, but he's kind of likable and hateable at the same time. So he's kind of in a hybrid situation, whereas Dom is just a straight heel that nobody likes. On Wrestling Observer Radio, the angle of FTR potentially leaving AEW and their contracts expiring was discussed. As Dave Meltzer pointed out, it should be noted that we were told months ago that the deal was already done and everything public was an angle given the storyline with the belts versus leaving the company, and due to that, nobody could say so publicly. Speaking of FTR, Dax Harwood said this in response to fans hoping he loses his job, writing, "Wake up this morning reading a lot of bad stuff about me. I'm not sure why. Either way, hoping I lose my job and my means of providing for my family ain't it though. It's sad that every day I have to remind myself social media isn't real life." When it comes to AEW potentially getting another weekly show for Saturday, Dave Meltzer noted that, "I heard about the Saturday show long before the reports of Punk coming back. Could it be related? When you look at the idea behind it, it definitely could be related. You're going against every big boxing match. You're going against college football at fall. You're going against the World Series. There's going to be NFL on Saturdays at times. Saturday's the toughest night for sports. That is going to be a very difficult night for them to draw anything but their most hardcore audience because there's so much competition." An article was recently put out titled "CM Punk is gaslighting AEW," where it was said that certainly Punk knows the draw that any feud with him and any combination of the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page would be, and it certainly looks like he's playing on that to get his return without having to own up to anything he did or said, and to try and make the others the real villains in this. He'll turn the AEW fans against those who created AEW in the first place if he has to, or he'll die trying, before just saying he's responsible in any way for his own exile. It's really classic Punk. AEW star Brandon Cutler tweeted in response that someone gets it, before making it to where his tweets are protected. Giving details on a rumor for an upcoming WWE Premium Live event, Ringside News noted that we reached out to confirm that LA Knight is a frontrunner to win the 2023 Men's Money in the Bank match. We were told that WWE Creative is not discussing Money in the Bank winners yet. Touching on his brother Jeff being back in AEW, Matt Hardy said this about the contract situation on his Extreme Life podcast. It's still owned by AEW. Now that he's back to work, I guess they'll start paying him again. His contract was frozen for a while. It's owned by AEW. Hopefully he'll make a few bucks out of this. With rumors of Seth Rollins getting frustrated with creative changes on Raw and walking out of the show, Steve Carrier wrote that, "We asked around about Seth Rollins' reported walkout during the Raw after WrestleMania. We were told that nobody was talking about it, which is strange because if it was true, then there would be more of a buzz about it backstage." During that same interview, Rosa reflected on her injury where she noted that, "First and foremost, I want to make sure people understand, at the beginning of this drama, everyone was speculating that I wasn't hurt. I was proven that I was hurt. There are MRIs, they talked to my doctor, I had multiple epidurals, and I'm still not cleared. I had another MRI last week and the pain is still there. For me, personally, I wanted to drop the title the day that I couldn't wrestle because they told me I was going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. My boss Tony Khan made the decision and said, you're going to be the champion and we're going to have an interim champion. For me, as a competitor, I wanted to make it fair so my peers had an opportunity to defend the championship because it wasn't fair that I wasn't there. I wasn't going to be there, and I was going to hold the title. The problem comes, and this has been the question raised about me not showing up. I wasn't booked to go there. When I got the news that I wasn't going to keep the title, it caught me by surprise. Today is the day, okay? I wasn't able to go. I wasn't able to get in the ring and say, guys, unfortunately, we made the decision. Here is the title. Thank you for the opportunity to let me represent. That opportunity wasn't given to me. That's pretty much it. I want to make sure we focus on the women's division now. I'm not there in the ring. I'm not a superhero to be able to get in the ring. We have to respect the people that are now representing the company. I've talked to the locker room. I took accountability for the things that some people had issues with me, and I went out there and apologized. That's the best thing I can do. I want to make money. I want to make sure I can work with everyone, regardless if we have any issues or not. At the end of the day, I'm booked to wrestle. Unfortunately, I can't wrestle right now. I'm human. I don't pretend to be a superhuman. I'm not here to be a martyr, and I don't want to be a victim. Right now, there is no storyline between Britt Baker and I. God is my witness. Every morning and every night, I pray to God that there is one thing I want to do and one thing only. Not to get the championship, but to settle this in the ring for once and all, and wrestle Britt Baker and show the world what a real professional wrestler is. Speaking about a rumored return to WWE, this was said by Fightful Select. Despite unusual online speculation, those we spoke to said that Christian Cage as a part of Edge's WrestleMania entrance wasn't a realistic situation. Cage is still under AEW contract. Mentioning the details regarding Brian Cage re-signing with AEW, it was said that Fightful can confirm Wrestling Observer's report that Brian Cage's contract is a 5-year deal. However, we can also confirm that AEW holds a 6th-year option on the deal. Despite the return of Vince McMahon to WWE and reports of his involvement in creative, CEO of the company Nick Khan clarified this situation with Light Shed Live. On Monday, April 3rd, when this deal was officially announced, Vince sent out a company-wide email to our 1,000 or so employees, including myself, and in this email, he laid out the structure of the new company. Specifically, he articulated that Paul Levesque remains the sole chief creative officer. Sole. How does that work? Does that mean that technically because I'm in charge of the business side of the business that I don't seek input from other people? I wouldn't seek input from Vince McMahon, who created this entire empire? That would be a mistake on my behalf. Paul and Vince, a family relationship, a relationship that spans back to the mid-90s. Paul is in charge of creative. If he wants input from Vince, or Vince has ideas that he and Paul are going to communicate, that's always going to be the case. We're lucky to have Vince. We're lucky to have Paul in control of creative. We're lucky that the setup that Vince created, that the company could continue to exist even when Vince stepped out out for that 5-month period, the company kept flowing. We think the best organizations are set up that way, and that's the way Vince set up WWE. With CM Punk's rumored return to AEW and speculation of what's next for Goldberg as a free agent, Eric Bischoff suggested this on his Strictly Business podcast. I think Wembley's going to do great with or without Punk. I would prefer, if I was Tony Khan, to do it without Punk, because that makes a real statement, right? Who drew the house? Did AEW draw the house, or did CM Punk draw the house? I would absolutely not book CM Punk on that show, even though I would know that doing so would ensure more sales. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't sell my soul to that piece of garbage. Book CM Punk and Bill Goldberg. You want to book something that's going to sell at Wembley? Book that. Bill Goldberg's last match against CM Punk. Dare you. Dare you. Grab your balls, TK. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.